as an avid movie goer, I find the current way movies are distributed extremely archaic. If I do not have the time to go to the movie theater, although I want to see that movie 2-3 weeks, it won't be showing anymore. I can't see it. If that movie for me would be available on the internet, I can watch that movie at my convenience in my house. I will pay $9.99 for that movie, and I can watch it with my entire family. I've lived in America for a long time. I have iPod, I have iTV, and currently I'm downloading Elizabeth, $9.99. I'm going to watch it at my convenience. Also, that system allows you, because when I watch Shekhar's movie, that system will come back to me, well, you watched Shekhar's movie, you may also like this, this, and this. So they set me on a path of more movies. Your recent movie, Aamir Par, is a beautiful movie. And it will not be seen, or hardly be seen, outside of India, which is a huge, huge shame. It may go in the art house circuits, you know, Amsterdam, Paris, London, run a couple of weeks, go to New York, go to LA, and that's it. A body of art of that quality is worth a much larger audience. So with an archaic distribution system like now, I think you miss out on a huge piece of audience that's out there who work, who have children, who don't go to the movies on Friday night anymore because that's what they want to sit down. Their kids go, but those kids watch a whole different set of movies. I feel, 45-year-old housewife, that you do not cater to my needs because it's difficult or complicated for me to get to that movie theater.
Can I make your life even simpler? Right? You can actually download Elizabeth the Golden Age, at least from 5 sites that I know, completely free.
So that's the word.
And about 1,000 sites which have Tare Zameen Par free.
Yeah, you can download the whole thing. And that's the word. How do we handle the world which is becoming increasingly, I call it democratic, somebody calls it illegal. But all revolutions are, you know, there are the revolutionaries who call it democratic, and the people holding back the revolution will call it illegal. Okay.
Somebody has to make money, so I would not do that.
So we have to find ways of making money out of that.
Madhur Bajaj. Aamir, I completely agree with you. I'm older than you.
There are 3 of us here. Which one do you agree with?
I think he agrees only with Aamir. Shekhar, he definitely doesn't agree with you.
No, he talked about the fact that people who may be elder but green, not climate change green. When a horse runs the first time in a race course, it's called running green. So I'm talking about that green. How would you advise corporate sector who wants to perhaps enter as a return on investment into films? I've heard that over 90% of films go bust. That means they don't make the money which has been spent in making that money, whether you have rights of DVD or whatever it may be, or the theaters. Now, if that is so, then obviously corporates are going to be scared to enter the film line as producers, obviously. So what is your advice to the corporate sector, and whether my figure of over 90% busting is correct?
No, actually a lot of films increasingly are doing better and better. The business in the film business is actually getting more and more healthy. I think with many more theaters coming in, and with a lot more theaters which are planned in the pipeline, under construction as we speak. And you know, it's in India, the entertainment business is growing a lot. The theaters are growing in number, and I think that will dramatically alter and increase the revenues for Indian films. I don't think it's that high. The percentage of films not doing well is not that high anymore. Apart from that, what is important is, I think, if you're investing in a corporate, or you have a corporation of your own which intends to make films, I think it's really important for you to invest time, energies, and money into people who have a creative bent, but who are not necessarily going to be directing films for you. So you need a team of people who will not be actually directing a film for you or doing anything directly creative, but who have a strong creative instinct, who can actually oversee what the creative team is doing. So today, as a producer, if I am able to pick a script and say, yes, this is what I want to make, he's directing it, he's acting in it, this is the team, I put it together, and I set them a sail. That ability that I have, your managerial staff needs to have that ability. So I think you need to invest, perhaps get people who are really sharp, young, with the spirit of adventure that's extremely important in films. Because remember, like, unlike other products, you know, when you make a soap and it does well, you have to recreate that soap again and again. But in films, but the kind of business we are in, each time the product has to be different. Each time you make something, it has to be different from the other. So you need a team which is able to give you that. A team that is able to recognize talent. A team that is able to put people together. And it's really teamwork, you know. So the producer or the person who's in that position or the team of people who are in that position need to be able to, one, pick scripts, two, put people together, get them to blossom. You know, as Ashok can tell you or Shekhar can tell you, it's so much of it is people management. You know, how you get team to feel good about what they're making. It's so nebulous, you know, filmmaking.
Yeah. Let me just tell you something else, that Hollywood is increasingly looking at box office as a loss leader. It's, the box office is more and more something that provokes. That's why the Hollywood strike happened. It's because people are recognizing more and more with the new delivery systems that are coming up on the internet that these are all revenue streams. And all these, I mean, I can remember talking to A.R. Rahman, saying to him years ago that actually your greatest revenue stream is going to be song tune, you know, tune downloads. And your problem is going to be this, that you're going to spend hours and hours getting exactly the right notes and everything, and then people are going to hear it for 30 seconds as a ringtone. But that so there's a paradigm shift. Now the technology of ringtones will get better, and then I actually call people who have nice ringtones so I can hear that sound. And I beg them not to big it up.
Going to Aamir's point, I think it's a people's business, regardless of how corporatized it becomes. You need the right people around you who can interface with the creative community, and you need to spend money on developing the right projects.
Which is in any business.
One last
and
point.
I think those two are absolutely critical for any kind of success.
I think one last point on that, which is more practical in nature, is I think if you select a bunch of people who are really young and dynamic, you should actually send them to film school for short courses.
Yeah.
They may not ever make a film, but they have to understand what it is to make a film.
Hi, I'm from New York, and I work long hours, and I love Hindi films. So at the end of my day, I love nothing better than to sit back at home and watch a beautiful film on my white screen with my own surround sound. The problem I have, when I go to the store around the corner, I know they're all pirated, and I know they're all copied, and the sound and quality is not good. It would be great if you had a secure site where we know we can purchase the real deal, the good stuff, and we would do so. And maybe it's existing already.
There are sites that are coming up that are doing that, and within a year you'll be able to download a movie in like 5 minutes with great sound, and there'll be legal sounds. You won't even have to go to your store.
Or else try to find the other store that has the other pirated one that actually has good sound. I'm kidding.
Okay. No, but to answer your question a little more practically, I think that if conventionally, when a film releases for the first 4 weeks, the DVD should not be out. If you're buying a DVD within the first 4 weeks of its release, it's probably a pirate. If you wait for around 8 weeks, that is roughly on an average when Indian films release their films on DVD outside of India. So after 8 weeks, you should be able to get a good print, original print.
Yep, it would be really nice to get a certified, secure, real deal, not copied print.
Yeah, I think if the audience is outside of India, just wait for it, because it's impractical for us as producers to release the DVD along with the theatrical release. So conventionally what the film business has been doing, which I think is what Shekhar is fighting against, or giving an option to, is it releases in theaters first. I think in the US, I think after the first 4 months, I think it comes into DVD, and then another 4 months it comes on television, etc.
That's right.
What Shekhar is saying is on day one, while it's available in theaters, it should also be available on the internet. It should also be available perhaps direct to home. You can pay $10 and watch it at home. So I agree with Shekhar. I think that...
In fact, exactly what you're saying is you didn't try and go to the local theater. You wanted to buy a DVD. The next time you're actually going to try and download it from the internet. And so we are moving into the new media in any case. You're already doing that. In fact, and you tell me, Ashok, and then we'll move on.
I think
to
from the
next.
Well,
business
Hollywood-
point of view, it's really a matter of harnessing all these various revenue streams.
Yeah.
Well, I think in Hollywood we've been fighting this battle now for a couple of years.
That's because
narrowing of windows, the releasing DVD at the same time, and now of course the internet. All of us want to have our theatrical window, whether it's Steven or Lucas or any of the guys. We all want to have our theatrical window. We all want to have our cake and eat it too. We want to have our DVD be the second window. It's been incredibly fruitful for us. As we keep narrowing those windows and as we release day and date on other media, we feel the revenue will get cut into by the other media, and more people will want to watch it on a smaller TV set or on a mobile, and we'd prefer for them to watch it on a big 70 screen, having made it for that.
It's a mystical question.
No, this is completely off what you're talking. Here we have a very sensitive actor and a great director and a very capable international distributor. Do we have something wonderful going for the world?
I said a mystical question.
It is a mystical question. By the time Shekhar decides to make a film that we can all work in.
Well, what's so funny about that? Guys, don't clap at it.
Look at that. Look at the applause.
There will be another new stream of revenue.
Entertainment always had two sides to it. It's the pop art of today. Film has been our new culture. It's the culture of dissemination. It is a learning process. It's a provoking process. And carries with it, if you're a serious filmmaker, it carries with it a responsibility. And I think films have made a difference. I tell you, I got interested in science fiction. A lot of kids I met at that time got interested in science fiction through a Spielberg film called, what was it called? Back to the Future. The idea of time travel and things like that. So films can be very, very provocative, and they can be spiritual, and there have been. There's films with a lot of subtext can be very provocative. Tare Zameen Pe that Aamir just made. I'm just amazed at a simple story like that seemed to be have suddenly moved an entire nation to actually reconsider the way they look at kids, completely reconsider the way they look at their children. So it does, it can. So it depends on the particular person and there. So, and yes, I agree that we carry a responsibility to do that, but not everybody seems to feel that, and that's fine too. A lot of people just come out to entertain, and that's fine also. In the paradigms of entertainment that they create, who want to change the world, as we all do, we can parasite through that paradigm and make our voices heard.
And I will say, in addition to what Shekhar is saying, it is the most incredible time to be in the entertainment business. Technology is extraordinary. Cutting edge technology. If you see a movie like 300, which has again changed the way that we make movies, similar to what George Lucas did 25 years ago with Star Wars, 300 is an extraordinary film. Great talent in front of and behind the camera. I mean, the cutting edge technology is going to take this even further. Forms of distribution that are coming around that can only add to the revenue streams. So I think it's really content is king.
I'm also going to try and encourage the audience to ask us and challenge us, and I've been trying to provoke this argument because it is entertainment next, and entertainment next is not just how to release movies in the new forms. It is new forms of entertainment. What are these new forms, and how far will the consumer determine? You see, right now, we are in a business where we create a product and you consume it, the audience consumes it. How is this democratic circle that is going to exist, where as you're creating something, the consumer is already creating it for you, and then you alter it, where you're providing the platforms, and how will that is it a symbiotic relationship between the consumer and the creator, where they're both the same? So you don't have icons sitting at one side who are the creators, and consumers blindly consuming what they're doing, but there are consumers and creators at the same time. And where do we, the so-called, currently we spend all our lives trying to be icons or becoming icons, where do we stand? Is it the end of iconism? Another provocative question thrown out. So let's take questions. Yes.
No, I was just thinking maybe we'll stop, so I'll start. The question is to Aamir, actually. Aamir, you said, you made a statement that corporates are babies. Okay. I'm a corporate executive today. I run a business. And it is no more different than running a company which can make movies or running a business which can make movies. It's all about a product, consumer, distribution, marketing, right? You can have a bad product, still market it well, position it well, and make money. We have seen a lot of examples in past. And the two movies which Shekhar mentioned, one of them was like that. The one which you talked about, and completely appreciation for what you made. Wonderful product, lot of consumers waiting for you. The lady said, huge distribution opportunity outside the country, we couldn't do that. So I'm saying corporatization is the answer to it. Probably structuring it a little better, putting it in a framework, and you can actually reach a larger audience and run it in a very, very structured way.
Sure. I completely agree with you. When I said that corporates in the entertainment world are right now babies, what I meant is in terms of their number of time that they spent in the business. So by no means am I saying that corporates are not good or they won't have something to offer. Certainly not. I think that they will have a lot to offer, but I think it's important for you to understand as a corporate, for example, is if a script were to come to you and I were to say to you that, I want to make a film about childcare and education. My guess is most corporates would say no. Childcare and education, are you talking about documentary? I said, no, it's not a documentary, it's a feature film. But it's about childcare and education. The ability to look at that script and say, yes, this is a film I want to make. When your company has that ability to do that, then you would have arrived as a corporate in the entertainment business, if you know what I'm trying to say.
I will also say in the defense of what
People
Aamir
in
is-
your company should have the ability to look at a Lagan or a script like Lagan, which in India, not a single sports film had worked till then. Sports films were a complete taboo. It broke any and every requirement of mainstream Indian cinema. The actors, all the characters speaking in Avdi, which is a dialect. We are roaming around in dhotis, wherein all the successful films of that time, people are in, DKNY and shooting in Switzerland and all of that. And here we are shooting in Bhuj, where there's, it's a story about there being no rain. And set in 1893, historicals had never worked in India. Everything going against it. So the ability of a corporate head of an entertainment company saying, yes, this is the script I want to back. When you arrive at that ability to, go through scripts and say, yes, this is what I want to make, and back it with full conviction, then is when I would say that, you have matured as a corporate. So I completely agree with you that corporates have a lot to offer. I have absolutely no doubt about that. But I think that at this point of time, I don't see yet a corporate head that I can look at and say he knows what to make. I don't see that yet. But it will happen, and I hope that it will happen.
Hi, I'm Koel Puri. I wanted to take up on something that you said, Ashok, about creating a window for the theatrical release. Surely everyone wants their film to be seen in the theater. We want to see the films in the theater. So why are we working so hard to create couch potatoes and make the film smaller and smaller and get it accessible on the iPod and instead of getting people more into the theater? Even going to the multiplexes these days is like sitting in your living room. The screens have become smaller. The sound is not like as glorious as it used to be in the old days with tears and stuff. What are we doing about actually getting the audiences to get out of their house and go to the theater?
Well, the trend, let's see the trend. The trend has been for the last 10 years to smaller and smaller screens. Incidentally, technologically, what's been happening is as the screens get smaller, the technology of sound is getting better. So that's one reason that we are able to look at smaller screens. So the home theater system is a home theater system, and people like it because the sound is so terrific. So the increase is so really, I think that when cell phone gets better sound, cell phone will almost, the mobile device will be. But I agree, I make epic films, as you know, and I just want it to be seen in the biggest audience. That's not the point. It's not about what I want. It's about what does the consumer want in the new media, which way are we heading? How will the consumer want to consume your product? Will the consumer even have 2.5 hours to spend with you, as we are realizing that as more and more attention spans are being taken away by the internet?
You have to tempt them to
So-
want to spend the 3
No, wait a
hours
minute,
with you.
yeah,
So
okay.
what do you do to
For
do that?
all the temptation, one thing we haven't addressed is that online gaming and video games are a far larger component in absolute value terms than cinema and music combined is online gaming, and it's done on a small screen and on the little internet. So we cannot fight the way, because I didn't come up with the generation of interactivity. The generation of interactivity is looking upon entertainment in a completely different way. But But as a
I think,
filmmaker, none of us will
totally,
say,
I think
of course I want a Cecil B. DeMille
We
screen,
absolutely want our films to be seen on the big screen. I mean, I'm a huge fan of going to a theater and seeing the lights go down and, watching it on a 70 millimeter screen. On the other hand, as I watch my kids who are 13 and 10 years old, some of they force you, at least in the West, to raise the bar of quality of your films because you're competing against video games, the computer, all these different things, and you're trying to cut through the clutter of how to market these films in a way that it's going to stand out amongst the other 5 films that are opening every Friday. So it is a real challenge, but I think innovative marketing methods are coming around that are also very interesting. But since there's more
We've
questions,
got 3 more questions, and I've been told we'll all have to leave. So whoever is enthusiastic, give them the mic. But let's talk about new entertainment next.
Shekhar, if I may, Bobby Seigel is my name. I know you're provoking a lot of questions and a lot of thought, but what we're missing is the essential point that filmmaking is an art. And you talked about whether there will be icons and consumers. And I think wherever there are great artists, there will be consumers. And you will never be able to get away from that.
I agree.
And I think we can try and get it down to corporatization, structuring, etc. But a great product of art will always be a great product.
I
It
agree.
will sell
But
forever.
the question then is, can a 3-minute film not be art?
Anything
Anything that can
great
be art. So that art does
will
not
be
deny the
consumed.
new media. I can't sit here in all arrogance and say, because I make a 2-hour film, I'm a greater artist than the guy or the kid that's making a 3-minute video on YouTube. I mean, if 10 million people they're watching it as art.
I don't think
Art, it's a pop art.
I think Hussein painting is as watched by consumers all over the world, or a Picasso, as a 3-hour, 20-minute Lagan.
So both are art, and as is the 3-minute
And
YouTube video.
And may they prosper. And I think that's what we can never
Okay.
get away from.
All right, thank you.
This question is for you, Aamir. You've spoken so much about how you need to find the right people within the corporate structure to pick the right scripts to make. And as an avid lover of in the Indian film industry and the films that you make, I've seen and observed that you have this uncanny ability to pick the right scripts. There seem to be a very fine balance between commercial objective and the message that you send down. Tell us, I'd really want to know, how is it that you really go about picking a script?
Well, I really follow my gut. I have to say, when I'm listening to a script and I like to hear narrations, or when I'm reading a script, at that time I'm the audience. And if the script moves me, it excites me, and as an audience it entertains me, it fulfills me, then that is something that I want to be part of. So it really is something that I feel as an audience. So, for example, Tare Zameen Par. When I first heard the narration of Tare Zameen Par, I was just weeping through it, and which is pretty much, I hear the reaction of audiences when they see the film. So I was the audience when I was reading the script. And it touched me, and I wanted to, whatever I felt at that time, I wanted to share it with people. So for me, it's extremely intuitive, and I go with my gut, and I go with my instinct of what I like, and I hope that people will like it. And what I do is, having liked something, I invest a lot of time and attention in the detail of how it's made so that it is, in fact, accessible to more and more people in the way it is made.
There's been quite a bit of talk about old media and new media. So what I wanted to really ask on this was, in the Indian scenario, Aamir as well, you're talking about focusing on the Indian market with 500 million people with a mobile phone, a lot of youth with a mobile phone as well. Do you see a scenario where someone like yourself would actually start to say, I will start making for mobile screens, as opposed to making for cinema screens in the future as well?
Why not, actually? I think that I'm an entertainer who wants to entertain. I want people to be moved by what I'm saying, stories that I want to tell. Cinema is simply storytelling. It's like sitting around a campfire and telling you a story. So if the new medium is a mobile phone and I can tell you a story which may just last 3 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, could be an hour. So I think with new technologies coming in, with new windows coming in for creative people. I think, yes, I think if the window is something that is one day reaches a point which is large enough for me to find exciting enough to where I can address a lot of people.
Which means, can you pay his price?
No, well,
I'm just
that
kidding,
will
I'm just kidding. No, but you get it.
that will happen, I think, on its
Yeah.
own.
I think
Thank you, yeah.
making movies doesn't exclude making.
But I think
content
Aamir's
for other.
answer to the question, if a story can be told in 3 minutes, he's actually willing to do it, and that is what new media is about. Yes!
My question is related to the business side of it. We've been talking of corporatization. I had even in the last year conclave a similar panel with Amitabh Jr. and Karan Johar and Meera Nair. I tried to correlate cricket with entertainment. They are both forms of art and they give entertainment. Not only last year, but even this year, just before the conclave, we've seen what business has done, the corporatization to cricket has done. Tendulkar is being auctioned. And, okay, he's a mature player, but a young guy like Sharma, our great bowler.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I've been asked to tell you to ask the question sooner. Thank you.
My question is, with corporatization in the film industry, do you foresee a similar thing of like the IPL cricket coming in the film world, that actors, directors, producers are being auctioned amongst the great big giants from the corporate
I'm going to take
world?
one question after you, but I'll answer that question pretty easily. IPL is becoming like what entertainment business is. So we are already like that. We auction ourselves constantly to the highest bidder, provided we like what we're doing. So IPL is trying to very hard follow what the entertainment industry, and that's what's happening.
I wanted to talk about a very recent trend that we've noticed about Hollywood producers coming to Bollywood and co-producing really big movies. I mean, Sony's entry into Bollywood and co-producing Savari is one example. So my first question is, what are the emerging trends in Bollywood that is encouraging this entry? Is it just the money? Is it the increase in professionalism? Or is it something else?
That's the question?
And the second question...
I'm going to ask, sorry, go on,
Okay,
second
and
question.
the second question is, what are the challenges that we feel we're facing in Bollywood working with these Hollywood producers?
Okay, I'm going to give the first part of the question to you because Ashok is actually here to do exactly the same. And he kind of has worked with the studio system. So you talk about why they're entering, and Aamir, why don't you say what the challenges are?
Let me deal with the question of why they are entering here, which is different from why we have created Hyde Park Asia. But if you look at a Sony or a Disney or any of the other guys who are coming in here, yes, this is a marketplace they want to be in. It's a marketplace where they want to make Indian cinema. But I don't think thus far they have shown any great reason to believe that they will take these films and market it any differently than Eros does or any of the UTVs or Yash Raj. So I'm not sure. I think they're just another option. They are looking at the Indian market currently as they do when they make movies in South Korea or in Germany or in Latin America. Okay. We are looking at the marketplace here a little bit differently in that we are providing a platform for certain Indian talent to be showcased in the West. The director that we are going to give a movie to direct to will make sure he gets an agent, we'll put him on his way. So similarly, the actor that we just used, and then so on. And they have a shot from there. So it's slightly different concept.
Thank you, Ashok. Aamir.
What was the second part of the question? What are the challenges we are facing?
Yeah, when the corporates come in, what are the challenges you as a filmmaker would face in working with the corporations?
Well,
I think
me
you've already
personally...
answered that, haven't you?
Well, I'll answer it slightly different. I mean, I'll address this side of it. I think that for me personally, it's not any different whether I'm talking to someone from Warner Brothers or, Disney or UTV. For me as a creative person, what is important is, am I excited with the material? And that material is most important to me. So no matter who brings it to me, that's what I want to be part of. I also am particular about, I think it's the same all over the world actually. There are certain creative people who are a little more particular about the kind of control they have over what they're doing. So someone like me, I mean, I would behave with them as I would with any other producer who comes to me. But I would imagine that, I think Ashok is right. I think the few meetings that I've had with studio heads that have come down, they are interested for some reason in Indian, and I've asked them repeatedly, why are you coming here to produce Indian films? And they have not really shown an interest from the point of view of taking them and releasing them
Yes.
to the world market. That's not their interest. Their interest is actually to make Indian films for Indians.
So
That is what they're keen on.
They're trying to
Which-
increase their footprint all over the world.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
but why? Why would they do that? I mean,
Because we are a growing economy and India's the buzzword. I have to stop.
I think
I'm
it'll
sorry.
pay off. I think it'll pay off only once. You see, today what happens is a ticket in India, theater ticket in India costs, I don't know, on an average 50 rupees. No, you're talking of Delhi and Bombay. I'm talking on an average, single screens and all that put together. It won't
You
be more
obviously
than-
don't go to single theaters anymore.
He obviously doesn't
All
pay
of
for
you
his
go
tickets.
to multiplexes, you're the elite. So I'm sorry, I have to stop. I've been told to get out, so...
But let me just finish what I'm
okay,
saying.
finish this.
No. On an average, it's 50 to 75 rupees across the country. I'm not talking of big multiplexes, etc.
Yeah, okay.
But I think that because if I'm not mistaken, in the US, it's what, $10?
Going up. We're raising
$10.
it. Yeah, it's 12
So I think
now.
when the prices in India for a ticket goes to something close to $10 is when
Yeah.
maybe that's why they're doing it eventually.
Okay.
Be, yeah.
The highest ticket price in the country is Japan. Japanese films go up to $200 million within Japan, just to give you a perspective.
Yeah.
For one what?
For
We
one
never
film.
got
Spirited Away did $250 million in Japan
It did.
itself.
Last
Yeah.
summer I did
Last
125.
summer,
I mean,
125.
you know, we
Japanese.
never got to Asian films,
Yeah.
Shekhar. But
So I'm just giving you perspective when you compare it all. Thank you, Ashok. Thank you, Aamir. Thank you for the audience.